What is the difference between a favela and a cartel? Detailed explanation. When you hear the words favela and cartel, it's easy to think they mean the same thing because they are often shown together in movies, documentaries, and videos on the internet. In reality, the difference between them is very large. One represents a place where people live, while the other represents a criminal organization. To understand the difference better, we need to look at how they appeared, how they function, and why they are so often associated with each other. What is a favela? A favela is a poor urban neighborhood, mainly found in Brazil. These neighborhoods began to appear in the late 19th century when large numbers of people moved to major cities in search of work. Because they could not afford to buy or rent regular housing, they started building their own homes on unused land. Over time, these settlements grew significantly. Some eventually became home to tens or even hundreds of thousands of residents. Many houses were built without permits and without urban planning. As a result, the streets are often narrow, and the infrastructure is generally less developed than in the rest of the city. However, it is important to understand that a favela is not just about poverty and crime. A favela contains schools, shops, restaurants, sports fields, and entire communities of honest, hardworking people. The majority of residents have no connection to criminal activity. One of the most well-known favelas is Rocinha, which is home to tens of thousands of people. Although the area has faced social and security challenges, it is primarily inhabited by ordinary families. How did the favelas appear? After the abolition of slavery in Brazil and following various military conflicts, many people were left without homes and without financial resources. At the same time, cities were growing rapidly, and there were not enough houses for everyone. People began building improvised shelters on hillsides and on the outskirts of cities. Over time, these areas gradually developed into entire neighborhoods. Throughout the decades, some favelas grew and modernized, while many others continued to face economic challenges. Today, millions of Brazilians live in favelas. Some are extremely poor, while others have become almost fully integrated into the surrounding cities. What is a cartel? A cartel is a criminal organization that seeks to make profit through illegal activities. The most well-known cartels originate from Mexico, but similar groups exist in other countries as well. Unlike a favela, which is a place, a cartel is a group of people organized in a way similar to a company. It has leaders, members, and individuals responsible for transportation, finances, security, and other operations. Cartels became famous for their involvement in drug trafficking, but some are also involved in kidnappings, extortion, smuggling, and other criminal activities. How does a cartel work? Imagine a large company. It has a CEO, managers, and employees. A cartel operates in a similar way, except that its activities are illegal. At the top are the leaders of the organization. They make the most important decisions and control the operations. Below them are different groups responsible for transportation, money, protection, and recruitment. Some cartels became so wealthy that they acquired resources comparable to those of small armies. As a result, conflicts between cartels or between cartels and government authorities sometimes became extremely violent. Why are favelas associated with crime? The issue arises because very poor areas are often more vulnerable to the influence of criminal groups. When economic opportunities are limited, certain organizations try to take advantage of the situation. In some favelas, gangs controlled specific streets or neighborhoods. These groups could collect illegal taxes, control illegal trade, or impose their own rules. This led many people outside Brazil to believe that all favelas are controlled by criminals. In reality, the situation varies greatly from one area to another. Can a favela and a cartel exist separately? Yes. A favela can exist without a cartel. In fact, the majority of favela residents are not involved in criminal organizations. A cartel can also exist without operating in a favela. Many cartels operate in cities, villages, rural areas, or even across multiple countries at the same time. This is one of the most important things to understand. A favela and a cartel do not depend on each other. Which is more dangerous? If we are talking about the concepts themselves, the cartel is far more dangerous. A favela is simply a neighborhood. It may face social challenges, but it is still a place where people live. A cartel is an organization specifically created to carry out illegal activities and generate profit from them. For this reason, cartels are considered serious threats to public safety. A simple comparison. Imagine a city. The city equals the place where people live. A criminal gang equals the group of criminals operating there. Using the same logic, favela equals the place. Cartel equals the organization. This is the simplest and most accurate explanation. A favela is a neighborhood where people live, while a cartel is a criminal organization that may operate inside a favela, in a regular city, or even across multiple countries at the same time.